Here we go, guys. We are back again. I don't know why I say that every time. It's just, you get in a routine of saying things. Episode 59 with Optimal Wellness Cryospa. Lawrence, Kansas. This one's for you. I mean, it's for everybody. It's a podcast. Kansas City. LFK ain't that far. LFK stands for Lawrence effing Kansas, for of those of you that are uninitiated. I had the owner of Optimal Wellness Cryospa. I was really interested in cryotherapy. You hear about the benefits of freezing, just the freezing of what Optimal Cryospa does. You guys will hear the information here. And we also have our first discount code for the podcast. Or not discount code, but discount. So listeners of the podcast, if you go out there to Lawrence to go to Optimal Wellness Cryospa, you're going to get like $5 off of your sessions for the full freeze or the leg freeze. You'll hear more about it in this episode, of course. I have yet to go up there. I was going to go this weekend, but apparently they closed just for this weekend for whatever reason. So I'm going to go up there. And he said he's going to treat me for free. So I get to go in there and freeze my whole body off. I'm excited. As some of you guys know, I just started going to a gym. Been working out. I'm kind of sore. This is supposed to be amazing for helping with soreness and inflammation and all that stuff. So I'm going to give it a try myself and see what happens. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being here and showing up. I appreciate the love and the support. And what else can I say? This is amazing. I love doing the podcast. I love Kansas City. I love everybody. I love you guys listening. I'm rambling again. Do I say that every intro? I'm just rambling? Because I just go off the cuff and I just go. And I just got done with a 3-hour podcast, so my brain is a little shot right now. But without any further ado, we've got Optimal Wellness Cryospa. I think you guys are going to like this one. You guys are going to get educated. And I know I certainly did. And hopefully wherever you guys live, if you don't live around Kansas, hopefully you guys can find at least a cryotherapy spa near you and give it a whirl. That's it. And I haven't asked you guys to do this in a while. But if you guys could just rate and review, subscribe, all that stuff. Find me on Instagram, NeanderTalkPod. Email me with questions, concerns, any kind of stuff. NeanderTalkPodcast@gmail.com. I'm done selling myself. Goodbye.
Welcome to the Inner Talk Podcast. We'll no topic is off limits. Now here's your host, my daddy, and Void of Soul. Oh wait, one more thing for me. Thank you for coming to the Inner Podcast. Boom, swat, boom.
All right, nice setup.
Oh,
You've done well. I wasn't sure what to expect when you talked about your studio. So, yeah, very nice.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You've gone all in on this thing.
I have. I definitely. This is my passion, and I just wanted
Yeah, that's obvious.
wanted my passion to come through, and especially if I'm having guests over, I want them to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to create a space that's hopefully comfortable for everyone that comes through.
So when you had the two guys in here, how did you do that seating?
So I used to sit on that side, your side, but right now I don't have my producer. He had to quit for professional reasons. And so he would sit there and run cameras and stuff. And so two people would be over here, one guy over here, and I would move this mic over to this spot.
Mm-hmm.
And then over here I have a spot where I can put another mic, and the guys would sit here.
So your 1-year anniversary when you had the two rapper guys, they sat over there and you sat here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then in my old studio, this is actually my second studio. My old studio was a little bit smaller. It was it was in a bedroom. And I had a band in there. There was about, how many of us? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 people in there.
Wow.
and they had like a big bass, like a big bass, a big box that he played drums on. I think they had a fiddle and a guitar or a banjo. Yeah, and they were all playing live, and it worked out pretty cool.
Nice. The box is it looks like a square plywood box that you bang on the side or the top.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember. It starts with a C. Can't
Oh,
remember
really?
the name of it. Yeah.
I don't know the name of it. I'm so musically inclined or declined. What would it be?
Disinclined.
Disinclined. There we go. Me not so good with words.
But obviously you're a man of words, or else you wouldn't be doing a podcast, because that's what it's about.
I'm a man of letting other people use their words, and I just sit back and try to let their
coax
genius
it out
flow
of them.
through. Yeah.
Cool.
So, Bill, I appreciate you coming in here. You are with Optimal Wellness and
Cryospa.
Cryospa.
Right.
That's really cool.
It is cool.
That's a mouthful.
Yes, it is a mouthful.
What the hell does it even mean?
Collapse
Right?
it all. Take out the ampersand, Optimal Wellness Cryospa, and that's our handle for all our social stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But a cryospa, we call it a cryospa because we have liquid nitrogen stuff. We have a cryosauna, so you stand in it and you, we call it just colloquially freeze for up to 3 minutes.
Up to 3 minutes. Is that okay? So is it like a big thing you walk in, but your head is above it?
Yes.
And then it's your chef neck down kind of thing?
It's these are octagonal, our brand, and you walk into it and it's just a chamber, and you can turn around. There's enough room to turn around, but not enough room to really dance other than just up and down. And yes, it's cooled by liquid nitrogen. Gets down to roughly minus 140 to minus 180 depending on the level.
Wow.
Up to 3 minutes. We don't start people at 3 minutes.
Can they go colder than that?
No, you don't really want to go colder. You'll see some of the machines will show unbelievably low temperatures. That's the process temperature of the liquid nitrogen coming out of the...
Okay. So like when they say like, I've heard some people say like 250 or something, but that's the, okay.
That's the nitrogen temperature.
That's not the air temperature?
That's not the air temperature
Okay.
in the cabin.
Okay, right. And so that's what did you say?
Minus 140 to minus 180.
Wow.
There are little digits on there, but that's the important thing. And your skin only gets down to about 45 degrees for 3 minutes.
What does an ice bath do? Like, what's that temperature? Do you know?
Usually in the 40s to 30s.
Just 40 degrees or 30?
It depends on...
Oh, yeah, because then it would be ice.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well, you can have a slush, but yeah, it's not quite freezing.
That seems, what's harder to do? Like,
Ice bath's way harder.
It's got to be harder.
Ice baths. And considering that if you want the benefit from an ice bath, you have to be in it 20 minutes.
20 minutes? I was
20
thinking
minutes.
10. 20?
No, 10. Most people don't last that long.
I don't think I could. I've never done it.
Most people don't. I ask athletes when they come in, hey, how long do you spend in the ice bath? They're like 10, that's it.
10.
Yeah. 20 minutes is what you're supposed to get. And really, they're two way different modalities. Ice bath is mostly just pain relief. You do get a little bit of way under the water. You get a little bit of compression from the water. But the cryo is much different because it triggers vasoconstriction. Your body thinks it's freezing, and so it shuts off the blood supply and cranks everything in from the periphery into the core because it says, I've got to protect my body and my core functions. Mm-hmm. And when you get out, it says, oh, I'm not freezing to death after all. And so the vasodilation happens. So all that went to the core got oxygenated, picked up growth factors, and then it goes out to your limbs. So it gets rid of inflammation.
Does it target certain spots at all immediately, or does it just go?
No, it's a whole body thing.
Okay.
We have a local cryo thing, liquid nitrogen with a wand, and we do all sorts of things with that. Like today, we've got somebody coming in that's got arthritis in their hip, and they get that local cryo done on their hip. Once again, about 45 degrees on the skin temp. So we work on it until we get it down to there. And he says he has relief for about 3 days from.
Really?
Yeah, no pain meds. So 3 days of
Really?
relief on his.
That's probably the big selling point right there. Is the more you do this, the less pain meds you would be on, right?
Right.
That's got to be the big thing.
Yeah, that's big.
Ugh.
Over time, it does. It's called down-regulating inflammation pathways. So if you've got pathways that are up higher, more than they should be, this will bring them back down to a normal level. So that's what that.
And basically, this is all your body doing this? I mean,
yeah.
But this is just stimulating it?
Yes,
like
it's stimulating your body.
It?
Yeah, and it does more too. So the cold stimulates collagen production in your skin. It gives you a big endorphin rush, so you get a big runner's high when you get out of the tank.
Really?
Yeah, your body says like, I escaped this dire consequence, and so you typically get an endorphin rush.
Wow. There you go, people who don't like to run, but you want that runner's high. You cheaters, right. You cheaters out there. I've earned my runner's high.
You earn it in the tank.
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah, I mean it
ain't earned like running.
So I characterize myself as being a whiny biatch in the cold. I've got pictures of me crying in the snow when I'm a kid, just because I didn't.
You're from Texas, though, right?
Didn't like the cold. Yeah,
that makes sense.
And I found that doing the cryo over time has way increased my cold tolerance.
Oh, nice.
And it just doesn't bother me as much anymore.
Right.
And so there's that benefit, which I've never heard anybody else talk about. But
that's yeah.
But yeah, it's not anything that anybody can't handle.
Right.
To tell you the truth, the only people that have bailed on a session have been middle-aged guys. Women have never bailed out of any session that we've ever had.
I think we all know. Most of us won't admit it, but we all know women are tougher than men.
I will definitely admit it. No doubt about it.
Right.
And I have proof from just that, seeing so many people in the cryo sauna.
Really?
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
I could see a lot of middle-aged dudes kind of talking a lot of shit and then jumping in there and being... Yeah. So
we start people out on level 1, which is a minus 140, and usually 2 minutes. And this guy's like, had never done it before. I got to go, at least level 2. Yeah, level 2, man. I'll make 3 minutes. He was out at a minute and a half.
At level 1?
At level 1. Because we wouldn't do it on level 2 for a first timer. No, you want to get the benefit. So the difference between 1 and 2,
really.
It's not a game, it's not a contest.
Right.
They say that level 3 for 3 minutes is mostly for professional athletes.
Okay.
So we don't typically do that for somebody unless they've been doing it for a good long while, and then we're happy to back it off. It's once again the difference between 10-20 degrees is not really huge in the total scheme of things.
Yeah, I need to get up there and try that. I know you told me I can come up there, and so now that
absolutely
doing this, I like the cold.
Cool.
I'm a whiny bitch when it comes to the heat. I can't do the heat. I can't stand it. And I'm a mailman.
Yeah. Well, this will beat the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, temporarily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to do it for multiple reasons. I have 2 bulging discs in my lower back.
Yeah, this will help that.
I'm curious if it does. I've heard a million people say this will help, this will help, this will help, and very little really helps. And so I definitely.
Do you do the inversion table?
No, I do want to try that.
Dude, you got to.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things about that, but I think mainly good things.
Yeah, in a previous life, I flew fighters, and
really?
So I had at one point I had a bulging disc in my neck, and so that inversion thing was money.
Really, for your neck? The upside down one?
Yes, upside down.
Have you seen the one that you should hang by your head? There's one now that there's like this trap that you put up like on your head, and then you hang it in the doorway, and you kind of crank it, and it stretches that out. It's like the same thing except for not upside down. It's over your neck.
I have one of those as well, but it uses a water bag for the weight. So you put your head in a harness and you hang the weight on the other end of the pulley, and so you can adjust the weight.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Wow.
That was really nice though. that was another thing that I used that helped that neck thing a lot.
Yeah. All right. Inversion table for you.
Cryotherapy. Yeah. For the mailman part, the mail carrier, you'd love the Normatec. It's sequential compression. It's like 5 blood pressure cuffs that you put on your legs. They're boots.
Mm-hmm.
They come up to your groin, and they cycle through the 5 chambers.
Okay.
And it pushes the fluid out there, so it facilitates lymph and drainage. It's so good that there are 2 of the Tour de France bike teams that are traveling with this Normatec. They put them on once they get in the bus, and they wear them the whole time that they're transiting.
Is that something anybody can get, or is that?
Yeah, anybody can get it, but you can get it in our spa for really cheap.
Well, that's what I mean. Is like when I mean, can anybody get it? Is that like an affordable thing people can
Absolutely.
get? Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. There's so many different.
The sleeves themselves are kind of expensive, but
yeah.
Our whole goal is to make professional level recovery available to the regular guy, because it works for them too. Actually, it might even work better for the common guy, because they're not getting all the rest of the attention that the pro athletes get.
Yeah. And if they do something, it's probably harder for them to recover.
Yeah, that's how I got into it. I ruptured my pec tendon lifting weights, and I couldn't work. And I dedicated myself to studying what would the pro level athlete do to recover. So I just poured myself into it. And then I thought, we can bring this to regular people. It doesn't have to be just in the for pros or for D1 college athletes. We can bring this to regular people. So that's how we got started.
Just by how did you find out about cryo stuff? Just Googling stuff?
Just looking at recovery.
They were doing it like the athletes were already into this kind of thing?
I have a list that you wouldn't believe of all the colleges and professional teams that use cryo.
Really?
Almost every single English or European professional league soccer star does cryo. Either the team owns it, some of the players own their own.
Oh, really?
Yeah, lunch money for some of those
they're making
guys.
so much money over there. They can afford that stuff.
Right.
They're like the highest paid athletes in the world are those soccer players.
LeBron owns his own cryo sauna.
I'm sure he owns his own everything.
Yeah. He has it in his house. But there are a bunch of teams that do it.
Right.
It's very, very common.
Huh.
The Washington Redskins just announced a big recovery center that they have for their athletes that has, one of the things is cryo, and they've got Normatec, and they've got red light therapy and all sorts of stuff.
I saw that the other day, that red light thing.
It works. It's scientific.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm all about science.
Yeah. That's another thing I used on my shoulder for recovery was the red light.
Yeah.
Stimulates the mitochondria in the tissues, and so they heal faster.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool
it's
stuff.
It's all cool. I guess sauna's really good too.
Yeah, we have an infrared sauna. There's a Finnish study that came out not too long ago where it took middle-aged men and tracked their sauna usage. And for those that were in the sauna 4 times a week, there was a 40% reduction in all-cause mortality.
Yeah.
So
just from getting hot.
Just from getting hot for 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Now, is that something, was that like you do that once a week, every day, once a month? Like
you can do it every day if you want.
But like, how do you get the most benefits from all of these different things? Like,
I love the sauna.
Like, what's the minimum of all these?
The minimum
you can
effective.
do to get, minimum to get, because if someone's like, they want to do this, but they don't have a ton of money, but they have enough that can, what would be the minimum? And then what's the maximum? What's the minimum someone can spend to get benefit, like the benefits that would be worth their money? And then what's the maximum that's like, the gold package where you get it all and you're like, you're going to be living for an extra 30 years.
The longevity part, I don't know that we can necessarily.
Quality health.
It is about health span and not about lifespan.
Right.
So
quality of life, I guess.
Yeah. If I were advising someone, I would say you start out doing cryo a couple times a week for the first 3 weeks, and then once a week thereafter, or whenever you were doing something that was particularly crazy, or depends on what you were doing, what your activity level was. If you maybe needed a real recovery day. Sauna, obviously 4 times a week would be great, but even in doing it just once a week was beneficial.
Okay.
And say you went out and partied or whatever and didn't treat yourself right, you'd definitely want to get in the sauna the next day.
Oh, really?
With a bunch of water. Oh yeah, it's really good for that.
Oh, wow.
It's an excellent detox. A lot of people that have undergone chemotherapy come and
Oh, yeah?
do infrared sauna. And those our sauna's made right here, and the company's in KC.
Heck yeah.
It's Sunlighting.
Oh, cool.
So
you're doing locals, getting supporting local
stuff,
too.
So
Speaking of local, I mean, you're talking about all these teams. Are you going to try and work with the Chiefs, or do they already have
I think
a guy?
they already do. The Royals, most of these teams buy their own.
Okay.
So the Royals own their own. Mizzou owns 2.
Oh, wow.
So the big sports teams usually own.
Yeah, I
their
guess
own.
that makes sense.
They might have even gotten a better deal than I.
Yeah.
Some of them, work for the promotion,
Right.
that kind of thing.
So, are you seeing like a lot of everyday like gym people, like regular athletes?
We see a lot of high schoolers. We see some college athletes. We see the weekend warriors.
Because you're in Lawrence.
We're in Lawrence.
So
yes.
you're right there with KU.
Right.
Probably a lot of affluent.
We see some of them.
Right.
We see really from, I would say from 16 to 80-ish people.
Really?
Yeah, because we have a lot of older people that come in that have arthritis or have inflammation issues, and they're looking for some relief. They are understanding that, hey, if I'm going to keep this health span and be able to move, then I've got to do recovery stuff. And
wow, how are they finding out that this exists? Like, not a whole lot of 80-year-olds that I know are surfing the internet.
They're not surfing the internet.
You know what I mean? And hip to this kind of thing.
They find out either from friends. We try to get around town and talk to people.
Yeah.
But it is mostly word of mouth with them.
Right.
It is difficult to reach those folks. But
you should go to like different nursing homes and stuff and do like, I don't know, maybe little speeches or talks like that.
Yeah, well, we do things like appear on podcasts. I have done some talks. We have a weekly, or not a weekly, but a monthly wellness seminar that we have. Like last Saturday, we brought in a guy that's got a local CBD shop, and he spoke for about 40 minutes. Dustin Hothen.
Okay.
He's a registered pharmacist, so I thought that was pretty cool. He's not just a salesperson.
Right.
He knows the chemistry and all the rest of it, so pretty cool.
I was going to kind of say, I wonder if you guys, that'd be kind of like a perfect marriage, kind of cryo and CBD combination, right? If you're a believer in CBD and it's kind of...
It's anti-inflammatory. No, more science,
Right.
It's definitely there. It's right now the laws are just so weird and changing and all over the map. It's
the CBD is legal everywhere.
I don't know that it's legal everywhere.
Even Kansas.
Well, that's because the farmers are growing hemp like crazy now because they can sell the flowers to make the CBD oil. Mm-hmm. Interesting trivia fact: what is the difference between hemp and cannabis?
Nothing.
Just an arbitrary THC level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
It is crazy. That's why they're both outlawed. They didn't even know what they were outlawing when they outlawed. They thought they were outlawing hemp. They didn't know they were outlawing the marijuana plant as well, the cannabis plant as well.
Why do you think they did that?
Well, that goes back to DuPont and, gosh darn it, the guy that had all the newspapers. Shit. Citizen Kane. This movie Citizen Kane was about him. Gosh darn it. Why am I blanking on the name?
I'll think of it on
it was
Hearst.
Yes. William Randolph Hearst. Yeah, he just propagandized. He had all these paper mills, and was using wood to make paper, and he had all these timber yards and stuff. Well, along came this machine to break down hemp and make it much easier, more efficient to make paper. Well, he was going to lose billions of dollars, and so he started, doing propaganda because he owned all of the newspapers across the country. Hey, there's this thing called marijuana, and black people and Mexican are raping white women when they smoke this stuff, and it makes you go crazy. So we need to make it illegal. Meanwhile, Congress didn't know all the science behind it and thought they were outlawing that when they were also outlawing the non-psychoactive plant as well.
It's the 1937 Marijuana Tax Act.
Yeah.
The reason why it's called marijuana was anti-immigrant program. Yeah. Lovely, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's
got it lobbied into a Schedule 1 narcotic, which means there's no redeeming medical value. Which
you can't study it.
Which we know is wrong.
It's slowly
pretty crazy.
It's slowly coming around. Slowly. I mean, we're making progress.
Yeah.
Got a long ways to go.
Long ways to go.
But it's a hiccup in human history. I mean, we think about how long it's been used with humans, since we've been around, just up until, I don't know, 100 years ago. I guess they kind of probably less than 100 years ago.
Yeah, I think it'll happen. And all those things are important. I mean, it's, the inflammation thing is super important. That's super important for aging. That's mostly what we're trying to alleviate is inflammation.
Right.
With all these things. There are other side benefits as well. But most of the aging issues and recovery issues are inflammation. It's the inflammation after lifting that helps you at first and then starts to hurt things when the fluid doesn't move fast enough.
So you were a fighter pilot?
I was.
For what branch?
In the Marines.
Okay. What kind of?
Flew Phantoms, F4s.
Cool.
That big, semi-smoky, loud airplane.
Wow. That's cool. Where did you have to go over the Gulf? Do anything?
No,
like that,
no.
right?
I got out before then. I got out in 1988.
Oh, wow.
So I did not do the Gulf.
So did you just have fun?
My biggest claim to fame was sitting alert in Key West for Grenada.
Okay. So you just had fun flying, huh? Was it fun?
Fun. A lot of work. A lot of study. Honing your craft. It's a workout. Pulling G's and that kind of stuff.
How many G's could you pull?
Depending on the weight of the airplane, up to about 7.5.
You yourself can do that? What could the normal person, if I were to go up in there, what would I pass out at? 2?
No, probably not 2. Probably, I don't know. Kind of depends on what you've been doing. If you lift a lot, you've got a lot more vasostricture. If you run and do endurance stuff, you're more likely to have issues with G loss of consciousness, G lock.
Oh, yeah.
But, 4.5, I think a lot of people start to go.
Yeah? Oh, cool. That'd be so fun.
They taught us special restraining maneuvers and tenses and, stuff to try to combat that. We also wore...
a hooking thing? A hook-ja. Is that something?
Yeah, well, it's not exactly like that, but yeah, that's... all those things are G-lock countermeasures. We also had what we called a G-suit, which was a pair of basically pants that had bladders and inflated as the G's mounted. Okay. So it would squeeze your stomach and your legs.
Oh, wow.
And to keep the blood from pooling in your legs from the G forces.
Wow. I had no idea. I just thought they were just regular suit. My dad was in the Air Force, and he flew in the B-52s, so I would see him in his flight suit, but it wasn't anything like the jet pilot ones, I guess.
Yeah, and if you look at the pictures and you see the hose that's hanging down off to the side, that's the hose that you plug into the airplane for the G suit.
Okay. Boy, that'd be so fun. All right, here's a question.
Got it.
How long were you in for? How long did you get to fly for?
I was in for 8.5 years, and I flew from 81 to 88.
Wow, 7 years of flying. Is the world round or flat?
It's round. Didn't usually get up that high, but it's definitely round.
It's so funny. I had my producer that I used to work with. He's a flat earther, 100%. 100%. He's not kidding. He actually thinks it's flat.
I grew up in the same subdivision that about 6 or 7 astronauts lived in. So, yeah, you see their pictures and such. It's like, nah, it's not flat.
So funny. All right. So lately there's been some alien talk. You ever see anything weird or strange? I'm not saying aliens wise, but is there, stuff have been lately. There's been like these things on radar that's popped up lately that was kind of weird, like a tic tac looking thing. And you hear some pilots have stories that they're like, I don't know what it is, but something weird. Have you ever had any weird? You ever seen anything that's like, huh, that's kind of funny? What's that doing here?
Not particularly. Most of the stuff had an explanation.
Yeah.
Depends on where you're flying. Sometimes if you were flying where they do experimental stuff, you never know, and you might not get an explanation.
Yeah.
So there's that. But mostly no.
No.
Mostly everything's explainable.
Did you know anybody? Did any of your pilot friends have any? You guys just drinking some beer, hanging out, just. I'm not asking you to say any names, but
No.
Just hanging out and guys, you will not believe this. Don't tell anybody, but I was up there and I saw this crazy thing and it was bouncing all around. Just nobody.
Sorry.
No?
No.
I had to ask. Why not?
Boring. Yeah, I guess.
It's not boring. There's nothing boring about that.
No, boring that I don't have a story for.
No, I wouldn't expect you to. But you never know. You have to ask. How often do you get to talk to a guy that spent that much time in the air? And with all the stuff in the news lately.
That's true. There might be things that we can't explain. I'm not saying there's not. I'm just saying that I haven't experienced any of them.
Yeah.
Hardly ever say never.
Yeah. Me neither. I did see something weird less than a year ago falling out of the sky, but it wasn't. It was probably just a meteor. But it was weird. Weird time of day, weird, but it wasn't anything that I would say, I don't know.
Seeing a meteor shower in the 30,000s of feet is pretty impressive.
Oh, wow. That'd be beautiful.
It's pretty cool.
And you can't capture it. That's just something you get to experience, huh?
It's difficult taking pictures up there.
Especially back then, you just had, a Polaroid?
Well, you had 35 millimeter cameras. I'm not that old, dude. But Polaroid didn't have.
You don't look that old. That's
didn't
surprised the hell out of me.
Didn't have a very good aperture. Not very many camera controls, so it would be really difficult. But when you're inside of the plexiglass, you get all sorts of reflections of things, so it's really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a lens skirt that you can use for that kind of thing that goes over the lens and comes out in little suction cups, and you can put it on. So, for example, I'm in a hotel room and I want to take a picture of something out there to keep from getting a reflection off the glass in the hotel room. I put this lens skirt up and put it in there, and it's black and it cuts out all the light from inside, so I don't get a reflection. It's kind of cool. It's a pretty cool little thing.
How did you go from fighting jets into how long? I don't know. What did you do after that? Because now, you're like the super smart dude that's doing cryo. Like, what was the?
I went to the airlines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as a lot of
fly for the airlines.
People do.
Yeah. So, and then, I got hurt 2 years ago. We opened. So we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary.
That injury, that was the injury. Your
injury was 3 years ago. 3 years ago.
And that's the thing that kind of spawned this whole thing?
Yes.
Wow. Really? That's crazy.
I started talking to people, and like I said, I couldn't work, so I had to do something to occupy my mind. And I said, hey, can I go walk? And they said, yeah, slowly. So, you can only do that for so long.
Right.
So I just dedicated myself to researching.
You tore a pec muscle. Is that what it was?
I actually ruptured the tendon. The tendon came off of the bone.
Gosh.
I've got 2 little titanium thumbtack-looking things in my upper arm bone, the humerus, that they lassoed the tendon.
Oh, my gosh.
And they lash it down like a sailboat sail.
What did that feel like when that happened? Were you? I imagine you were pushing a bar.
Pushing a bar.
Oh, my gosh.
Big
Did
pop.
it fall on you? And
Big pop.
Did you have a spotter?
I had a spotter.
Ooh,
but
that's why you have
still,
a spotter.
Still kick, at one side.
Did it hurt? Did you scream? Were you like, what is that like?
Well, I heard the pop, and it's like,
oh my gosh, it popped? You could hear it?
Everybody in the gym heard it.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Holy shit.
So
I'm turning white right now just thinking about it.
It felt like somebody hit me in the chest with a baseball bat.
Oh, wow.
And so I knew I'd done something. So I grabbed they had a couple of sodas in the refrigerator. Grabbed a couple sodas and just put it on there right away. And it was...
And some duct tape. You're just missing some duct tape.
Yeah, like all injuries like this,
Right.
It was Friday afternoon at 3:30, trying to find a doctor or somebody to talk to.
Right.
It's like, what do I need to do?
I would have gone straight to the ER.
And I did one of those doctor on-call things, and she's like, well, yeah, you probably have a tendon problem, and definitely need to go see a doctor. And
God,
so
dog.
I did eventually, and then I eventually got an MRI like Monday or Tuesday, and it was off to the
Were you in
races.
pain that whole time? It sounds like agony.
Well, it was super swollen, and gradually had black and blue and yellow and everything else
gosh.
down to the middle of my forearm.
I'd be freaking
and
out.
all the left side of my chest. So it was pretty crazy. And then obviously, if you don't have your pec muscle, you can't really lift your arm this way very well. So that was pretty wild. So I did have the surgery. I had a good result. The surgery and the rehab were a lot more painful than the injury.
Really?
Kind of a funny story. On my first checkup with the doctor, they come and sign the spot where they're going to do the surgery, right? That's the protocol, so that they know and they've signed it, and it's...
I've never had surgery. Okay.
Keep them from doing the wrong thing.
limb or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he takes the little Sharpie and signs my shoulder right there where he's going to do that. And so on the follow-up, I said, hey, Doc, can I see your hand that you signed, before the surgery? He says, yeah, but why? I said, I just wanted to see what it was about your hand, because it sure made my shoulder hurt quite a bit.
Oh.
So that and the shoulder rehab's pretty bad, because you start with just sliding your hand up the wall to stretch everything out, and just it doesn't feel good. I don't recommend it. It's not a good
Yeah, I bet not.
But that is how I got started, and because all the research, and I asked some well-known physical therapists that I got a chance to talk to, hey, what would you do? And, what does the high-level athlete do? Because all of it's applicable on the way down. Just because they're at a high level of athletic performance doesn't mean
do the best. Do what the best is doing.
They respond any differently. So
Yeah, I mean, that makes 100% sense.
So that's how I got into it.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow, at least something beautiful came of such a awful injury.
Yeah,
that's crazy how many things get started out like that. There's a CBD guy around here, a CBD American shaman, and he's got a pretty cool story too. Like his uncle, that was like a dad to him, got diagnosed with like stage 3 or 4 cancer, and he just wanted to do something to help out whatever he could. And he was just researching everything. And he at first he laughed at CBD and just, that's ridiculous. I'm not even thinking about that. Went through everything. Nothing was working. And he's like, well, let me just go back to this CBD stuff. And then, started his company because it worked out of something, I'm not going to say yours is tragic, but it's kind of tragic. Not as tragic as maybe a crazy, whatever. I'm not comparing it, but it's just cool to see a story be built from something that, you got to go?
I'm good.
All right, sorry. Wow. So what were you flying? You were in the airlines up until starting this, or
I still fly.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. You're just a hustler. Look at you. How do you do it?
Just do it.
You just do it?
Every day I'm shuffling,
You really are. Is that just kind of like part of the military?
I don't think
brain
so.
Just kind of instilled that.
I think it's just me.
Who you are?
I like doing stuff. It's challenging running a business.
I bet it is.
I enjoy the challenge. It's a different kind of challenge. I like helping people. And that's really what we're all about, is helping people feel better, perform better.
Right.
So
that's really cool, man. That's a beautiful thing.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like what we're doing. I like that we can help people recover on the backside. Actually, cryo gives within 36 hours gives a up to 10% boost in your performance. So you'll actually perform better if you do that before a contest.
Oh, really? I was wondering because I'm a big bow hunter, and like I do it, by myself, and I hike a whole bunch of weight all the way back, pretty far back in the woods, and it's pretty strenuous activity.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, would that be something you would do before, or I guess you would do it after, but if you do it beforehand, is that going to make me a little bit, more, I guess, better to go at it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a little bit of endurance. It might not be quite, but at any rate, you'll reduce your inflammation, so
Right.
you'll obviously perform better. How much of a difference that'll make in your fine motor skills with aiming your bow.
Well, I just mean it's as far as the activity of hiking all my shit back there, and then having to haul a dead animal 2 miles through the
right. I don't know. I don't know whether you'd feel it or not. I mean,
Yeah.
You definitely would be better, but
yeah. So do you have plans of trying to expand, or are you just kind of keeping it in Lawrence, or do you want to hopefully open towards more Kansas City or more Kansas? Like I don't know. Like do you have plans of growth? Like
Kansas growth. I'm talking with some other people about some other opportunities that we might have. So we're looking at some stuff. So there would be some other locations, but
is it like a gym membership?
Not ready to disclose any details right now.
But soon. But you do have hopefully dreams of.
Yeah. And like I said, we're in discussions with people, and no, I don't think so. I don't need to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
Nah, it's overrated.
Probably is. More money, more problems.
Yeah, there's that.
What is your thoughts on cryogenics?
Well, that's a whole different thing that I didn't really look at. We do get asked that question a bunch.
Yeah.
I think that the science is ultra shaky around that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know anybody that wants to volunteer to be the next Ted Williams and have their
head used as a baseball.
A head frozen. But, yeah, it's a completely different thing. We're not trying to freeze people at all.
Right.
In fact, that means we haven't done our proper safety protocol, but the interlocks with the machine and everything else, our machine's ultra safe, so it wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, I was going to ask is there any people that it's not safe for?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah? Who?
Definitely. So if you have an open wound, you had a recent tattoo that's not healed, if you are pregnant, there's certain endocrine conditions that contraindicate doing cryo, but you probably could do an infrared sauna, like Raynaud's, where people get cold. It's a thermoregulating syndrome. We have somebody that wanted to do cryo, but she had Raynaud's, but she does the infrared sauna, and that helps her a lot. So,
what kind of open sore? Is there a small? Is there a size where it's all right, that's too big, or can you have a small couple little cuts?
I think.
Is that just gonna hurt it?
Couple
or is it
little cuts. Well, you
freezer
have
burn.
you're wearing gloves.
Okay.
You're wearing socks. You're wearing booties. Guys are wearing shorts. So yeah, the stuff is covered.
Okay.
If you have any piercings, below the neck, then those need to be covered in some fashion. Yeah. So there's that. We have people get in with artificial knees. It's not a problem because it's covered by skin.
Huh.
For me, my elbows tend to get cold, so I take my gloves and usually put them over my elbow. That was my phone.
Uh-oh. Fort, look out.
Bounce check good. So, yeah.
That's awesome. You're super science minded, huh? Have you always been like that?
I have.
Yeah?
I'm very science oriented. I have an engineering degree, a minor in chemistry. I just get into the engineering stuff. I try not to overwhelm or bore people. I have to be careful about too much information. So
really? How come? People just get bored with it?
I had to learn that everybody doesn't want to know all the nitty gritty details. And so I've got a little bullet point thing that I do for cryo, the endorphins, builds collagen in your skin, reduces inflammation, helps you sleep better, burns a few calories, down regulates. Well, that's where people start to lose is when I say down regulates inflammation pathways. but I just say it helps your inflammation over time. It also builds their heat shock and cold shock proteins that are brain protective.
Yeah.
Both the cryosauna and the infrared sauna generate heat and cold shock proteins that help the proteins fold correctly in your brain, so it's neuroprotective, less likely to get clumping.
Does that help out with? Do they have science behind that and what that means on what it can prevent or help you out, or what is the?
They're studying it.
Okay.
Some of the veterans are doing some of the stuff. The guys that have had traumatic brain injuries, they're studying, whether how well these help, if they help very much. Usually that's post injury.
Yeah.
But there's not going to be any money for a study about whether a sauna helps any kind of neurodegenerative disease.
There won't be money for that.
I doubt it.
Not for it. Not
There's
around
no
here.
drug in it. It's too inexpensive. Sorry.
Yeah. Do you think that's a lot of?
I think that's a lot of it because that's where most of the study comes from, is from drug companies. Look at what drug companies are trying to do with CBD. They want to.
What are they doing with CBD? I haven't paid attention what the drug companies are doing.
They want to sell drugs, and so they're trying to keep it from being legal. And I think it's pointless because I don't think it's going to happen. But they would love to have a blockbuster drug that you could take in their little pills. And I'm sorry, it sounds super cynical, but
it's cynical. But I mean,
doesn't mean it's not true.
No, it's. I mean, it has to be true. It makes sense when you see who is against these different drug companies and all that kind of who's against natural pathways
and who can sell and do opioids and all that stuff for so long and make billions of dollars and nothing ever comes from it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the worst thing that's happening to that whole Purdue thing is the families are yelling at each other now and filing lawsuits and stuff, but nothing real. The fines are just a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, when they're billionaires. Yeah. There's a special place for them after they die.
Yeah. So we touch on a lot of wellness stuff, and I get a lot of wellness information, and I enjoy that. But I try not to bore people or overwhelm people. Mostly, a lot of people want to just feel better or know that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Or I'm doing the right things to help myself.
Is a lot of this like science based, or is a lot of it anecdotal, or is it?
There are studies that show that people recover better with cryo. They did some with tennis players and stuff. But I think you can get all wrapped up in the science part of it. But I think one of the best things to look at is look at how many people have adopted it and use it and continue to use it. And most professional athletes won't continue to do something that's not working for them.
Right.
And as I said earlier at the beginning, the list, even from like Dr. James Andrews, the guy that does the atomic jump stuff, his clinic has a cryo machine. Dr. Andrews is not going to risk his reputation and his mega $1 million practice
on woo-woo.
Yeah, on woo-woo and garbage stuff.
Right.
I think that's a that's a big deal. And some of the the guy that's playing in the Wimbledon finals, Djokovic, has been doing cryo for like 10 years. It's been
around that long?
Been around a long time. Started in 1978. There was a Japanese doctor that was trying desperately to help his rheumatoid arthritis patients.
Really?
And he came upon that. He knew that cold helped, but he knew that the ice baths weren't really doing it. It was just pain relief that's all it did. And so it didn't really help with anything. So he thought, he's thinking about what he could do, and he came up with this cryo machine. So it started in 78.
So he thought cold's good, but even colder would be better?
Right.
Like just an extremist kind of dude?
Well, he was trying to, you don't get vasoconstriction in an ice bath.
Okay.
But you do when you're in extreme cold, you get vasoconstriction. I don't know how he made that connection, but somehow he made that connection. And he said, if we get vasoconstriction, that's going to squeeze the inflammation out of the areas, and so these people will get relief because it's the inflammation and rheumatoid arthritis that causes the pain and the damage. It's that stuff's not moving out, and so it starts to attack the joint.
Wow. So this is brand new. 50 years? 40 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Kind of new.
That is
But the liquid nitrogen technology hasn't really been, the cryosurgery and the rest of that stuff
right.
hasn't really been around. The whole liquid nitrogen capability hasn't. They used it for, things, telephone lines and stuff like that
Right.
to keep the gas out, but they weren't using the coal part of it. They were just using it as an inert gas.
Wonder how good, how long an Eskimo could handle the cryo thing for their first time.
I doubt it would be an issue.
Yeah, right? They could probably go forever.
Right.
I don't think they can even get frostbite, can they?
They can. Oh, yeah, everybody can get frostbite.
I mean, to a point, but I think they're a lot less susceptible to it than...
That's about circulation and tissue freezing, which is quite physic related. So there are limits to your physical abilities to withstand cold just because...
So there's no danger with yours? Like, there's no average danger? Like, anyone can just go in there and there's, like, no danger behind any kind of frostbite or...
As long as you
can handle it?
As long as you don't have one of the conditions that's excluding,
right,
and you can't have lotion on your skin, no lotion because that traps moisture, and then you can't be sweaty
because that would freeze.
But as long as you meet all those things, then it's perfectly safe. We check you over before you get in. You make sure you got your socks, your booties, your gloves. Guys have the shorts on. You get in. We have you turn around the whole time, so we're watching you. That's part of our safety protocol.
Okay.
We usually talk to people unless they don't want us to talk to them during the session. And then there's an interlock on the machine that you can't get to from the inside, that the operator has to touch every 30 seconds to keep the machine going, or else it'll quit.
Oh, wow.
So, and there's also an emergency stop button that's right there at that panel, so you can cut it off right away. If you ever open the door while the session's going on, it immediately stops. So we have quite a safety protocol and a safe program.
Yeah,
And
I'm sure, all that stuff kind of... There was a tragic accident a few years ago, right, with that young lady that was using a machine by herself.
Which is...
Stupid.
Well,
right?
It's impossible for our machine. You can't do it yourself.
Right.
You just wouldn't be able to do it. It's not physically possible.
Yeah.
So, yes, you're never supposed to do it by yourself.
That's silly.
You're never supposed to go more than 3 minutes. You can go 3 minutes, but then come back. You have to wait 4 hours. That's another thing, a difference between ice bath and a cryo session is just as soon as you get warm up back to your normal temperature, you can go out and do whatever you want to. After an ice bath, you're not supposed to do anything physical for about 12 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
That just shows you.
I never did. I was an athlete, but I never did the ice bath or anything like that.
You're still an athlete, brother.
I run. I work out a little bit.
Everyone is an athlete in the game of life.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's a mean sport.
Yes, life is a mean sport.
Yeah, it is.
It's got lots of bumps and bruises.
Yeah.
So
it's a contact sport.
Absolutely. So after you get done with your male run or your stalking the beasts in the wilderness, you come back and do the Normatec. I like to ride my bicycle, so when I get off of a 40 to 60 mile ride, I come and put the Normatec sleeves on, and just like the professional bike riders, and it makes a huge difference.
I'll do that. I've been running a lot, and I have ambitions of doing a marathon, and I'm hoping my back will let me do it, because I've been running. I'm up to 8 miles now, and my back feels it the next couple days. It's like so I don't know that I can do a full marathon. I know I can do a half for sure.
So the issue probably wouldn't be getting through. It would be the time, and it would be, can you stand the pain?
Of the marathon, of the running? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mental, right?
And then you definitely want to come see us
immediately
after you finish.
Immediately, just drive straight out there. I'll have to look for a marathon that's in Lawrence.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to sit in the car for half an hour. Have somebody drive.
Someone would have to drive me.
Lie down in the back seat.
I'm going to have someone with a big van, take the seats out and just laying back there. Take me to Lawrence.
That's right.
with a 6-pack of beer.
Now be careful. You can probably have one or two, but you need to make sure the alcohol will hit you hard after doing something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to drink 6. I would probably have 1, maybe 2.
Yeah. There's a long and storied history of long bike rides and beer.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot of the breweries, a lot of the craft breweries like...
Oh, yeah. They do those little, run brewery bike things.
Right.
You're a biker?
I am a biker.
Okay.
Bicycle rider.
Bicyclist?
Yes, bicyclist.
Guess that's what it'd be, yeah. You
Yeah.
guys are all cheaters.
No.
Yeah. But that's okay. It's the
I'm
culture.
not a cheater. I didn't take any drugs.
I was listening to Lance Armstrong talk about at least the Tour de France culture, how it's been, the cheating culture has been in that since it started. Like they would used to have like fishing string or something hooked up to a car and then like a stick in their mouth while they would be holding it.
There are all sorts of things. There was one guy that died because he was trying to increase his performance by taking amphetamines and he overheated. Heat stroked out.
Would that be cheating? Is taking amphetamines cheating?
It is now.
Is it now?
Yeah.
Because it's really?
Yeah, it's a performance enhancing drug, PED.
Even like Adderall or something? Would that be considered?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They test for all that stuff.
Wow, I didn't realize that. That's like a prescription. I would figure they would let you use prescription.
You can get what do they call that? It's some kind of exception. If you have to go through a rigorous procedure, but you can get some kind of exception. Chris Froome got tagged for that last year. He had some kind of exception, and they were taking issue with it, and I can't remember what it was for, but it was for something. And so it was some drug that would normally be banned, but he was allowed to take it in certain dosages, and they would, test to make sure that he wasn't getting more than or taking more than what he was supposed to, and all this kind of stuff. So you can get exceptions for some things and some conditions, but yeah, I think it's pretty few and far between.
Yeah.
The team actually announced this year that, to their knowledge, nobody on their team has any exceptions because of that controversy last year.
That was last year?
Yeah. For last year's
They say
tour.
Viagra's a good performance enhancer too, isn't it?
Viagra?
Uh-huh.
I don't know what the...
Because it opens up your
vasodilation. It's... I don't know whether they consider that or not. I don't know. There's a big long list. It probably is banned because just about everything is banned.
Really?
So even if they can't actually test for it, it's probably banned. Some of those things get out of your system super fast, so you'd have to just be caught right at the right time.
Right.
But I won't make excuses for Lance, but they do know that 99 out of the top 100 riders in that period were doing some kind of...
Oh yeah, they said that the first the first person, the guy that should have finished first or whatever, was like 102nd place or something like that on the Natch. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like in the culture, right? In that Tour de France culture, you got to cheat.
Well, the Grand Tour thing where they're riding their bikes. I mean, think about that. You're riding over 100 miles a day for 3 weeks.
It's insane.
With 2 rest days. That's nuts. I usually
100 How long does it take to do?
I come back and go to sleep after doing my 60-mile rides and take a nap. So, yeah, and then I usually don't ride the next day either. So,
how long does it take to do 100 miles for these guys?
For those guys, they're doing 20 plus miles an hour. So some of they're a really long stage this year, the longest stage, they were on the bike close to 7 hours.
Wow.
And, they're
But that's the long end.
20 plus.
Wow. I had no idea.
There was at one point, I was watching the other day, and they were at one of the packs was going at about 35 miles an hour.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's pretty fast. That's pretty
really
fast.
That was flat. That's not downhill. It was on the team time trial for, what was it, 20... I can't remember if it was 27K or 27 miles. It wasn't super long, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I don't think I've ever gone that fast on flat ground.
Trying to think the fastest I've ever gone. I've gone pretty fast on rollerblades holding onto a car. But I want to say
That
that.
doesn't count.
Yeah, well, yeah, do it and then tell me that. When
It-
you're holding on to
it-
a car and
it-
going about 25,
It only counts if you biff it.
yeah, no, it's pretty nerve wracking. Your butthole's puckered up when you're holding on and going that fast. I don't know. I mean, it's scary.
Yeah. Well, I was going 50 downhill once. It was kind of scary.
Oh, that
'cause
was scary.
The
Yeah.
front wheel starts
Oh.
on the bike started kind of shimmying a little bit. It's like, ooh,
Oh, and then if you hit just any little thing,
right? Yeah, I was
It's
watching
over.
down the road. Yeah, it would have been ugly.
so you definitely a big time athlete. Like, you've done all kinds of things in the working out and everything. Biking, lifting. You still lift now? Can you still
I
lift?
still lift. Yeah,
Yeah.
I still lift. Yeah, fully recovered. My left side's just as good as my right side.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I actually tested it. So good to
Wow.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, even less of a decrement from right to left than one would normally have between right-handed and left-handed.
Wow.
Because I spent a lot of time. It was long, hard rehab, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to begin. I fucked up my pinky. I dislocated my pinky a couple years ago, and it's still. I went to therapy for that, doing all kinds of and it's still jacked up. It still hurts. I can't do anything of that in the therapy with the cryo, could I?
Yeah, you could.
Really?
No, the spot cryo would help it.
Okay.
Might help. Probably help it feel better. You probably have some inflammation in there still.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely get some pain relief.
Yeah, I mean, I can. Yeah, really. Yeah, I'm gonna try that then. You said I could do a squeeze and freeze.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I told people that too, and they gave me a funny look. I was
Okay,
like, I like the sounds of this.
Freeze and squeeze.
Freeze and squeeze.
So
Yeah.
you do the cryo session,
Mhm.
and then you get out and you go do the Normatec sleeves.
Okay.
So most people do the boots, but we also have arms. In fact, a
Okay.
lot of major league pitchers now are doing the Normatec on their pitching arm in between innings because it gets
Oh, really?
inflammation out. You think about, they're
That's so crazy.
throwing, and so they're building up inflammation in their, from their basically
Mm-hmm.
their elbow down, and so the guys are doing that. Chris Sale, the pitcher that he's kind of struggling this year, but
Yeah.
it was really good for the White Sox. He liked it so much he opened his own
Oh, yeah?
cryo studio, kind of like ours.
Crazy what technology's doing to sports. It's just changing all these games so much. It's so hard to even, like, especially when you look at baseball, such a purist sport, and you want to, live back with, like, Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle and Jackie Robinson, like, that era.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at, these people doing that Normatec sleeve in between innings. Like, it's just such two different
It's
kinds
all
of human
about,
beings anymore. It's like technology is just changing.
It's about
everything.
incremental gains for those guys. They're looking for that.
Mhm.
That
for
little
sure.
edge.
And longevity, too, for their career.
Right, for their career, absolutely.
Mhm.
Anything you can do. I mean, they're making so much money now that another season is quite a bit, and
Right.
plus, obviously, most of these guys really like to play, and so you'd like to extend your playing career.
Mm-hmm.
So anything you can do that helps. That's one of the reasons why I like that team Ineos on the UCI World Team that's won the Tour de France for the last 4 years. Looks like they might win it again this year.
Who is this?
Team Ineos. They used to be Team Sky.
Who are they? I've never heard
It's
of
a
them.
bike racing team
Okay. From America?
from Britain.
Britain? Okay.
So their whole thing is about incremental gains, and so they've done all these things to help guys recover. It was so the number one thing you can do for recovery is sleep.
Right.
Get good sleep.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that they did was made sure that guys had the ability to sleep as best they can, because the ASO, the tour sponsor, chooses where everybody gets the hotels that are all around, so they don't necessarily get to choose their bed or that, but they had their own pillow, they had their own stuff. I think they were even bringing portable air conditioners so the room would be cool. They were doing all sorts of things like that so that they could sleep as well as possible and recover. They did things like I just love the incremental gains. They figured out guys were getting saddle sores because the bacteria on your skin's different from somebody else, and so when they washed all the biking stuff altogether, all the germs would get mixed up because you can't get rid of all of them. So they wash everybody's stuff in a different washer. They have a van that's got 8 different washing machines, small washing machines, and they wash all the stuff differently. So
The saddle's the seat. Is that right?
Right.
Why not just change out? Why not have a whole bunch of seats, however many days there are?
No, it's the, you wear your bike shorts. They're washing the bike shorts.
Oh, okay.
You don't have a different bike short for every single day, and you wouldn't want to wear a brand new one anyway.
Okay.
They need to get broken in just a little bit.
Okay.
So you're washing them. It's like a pair of jeans or a T-shirt that you wear that you really like.
Yeah. Okay.
Feels
I
good.
got you.
So
Okay.
you have those kinds of things. So they figured out that they were having basically cross-contamination because you couldn't get rid of all the bacteria.
So they're just getting like jock itch and swamp ass all day, and they
Well,
didn't know what was going on.
You get a sore.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
because of the friction.
Right. Okay.
And normally it may heal, may not, but the bacteria attacks it, and so it turns into something that's serious. And a saddle sore while you're riding 150 miles is not fun.
No bueno.
It'll definitely cut your performance. So those incremental gains thing, and so that's the way I look at optimal wellness. It's an incremental gains thing. If it's something that if you adopt as a lifestyle, then it's going to help you incremental gains with your health span and also your performance. So,
what would you suggest for, I don't know, somebody that just says, "Hey, I want to optimize my life. What do I need to do? Everything like." Here's the kind of diet I need. Here's what kind of exercise this person should do with this kind of heat spa, cold spa, all this kind of stuff. See, like, what would you do you have any kind of
so I go back to that. Number one is sleep.
Yeah.
There's nothing that.
How many hours do people need? 8?
Around 8.
Yeah.
Some people need a little more.
That's number one, huh?
Very few people need less.
Yeah.
So a consistent sleep time to go to sleep, and the more consistent you can make that, the better it is.
That's the most important. That's the hardest one. People don't want to do that one.
So it clears your lymph system. It's called a glymph system. It's like a lymph system in your brain that clears out proteins out of your brain. All of that stuff works while you're asleep. You build the most muscle while you're asleep. All that stuff. It just is amazing. It is the number one thing. And if you think about it, why else would people need to sleep a third of their day unless it was super important? The way we're put together is not particularly dumb. It's
right.
There's usually something for everything.
Right.
And so that reason why we need to sleep is that clearance and to help your brain kind of resets. You make memories. You imprint them. It clears out the metabolites out of your brain, clears metabolites out of your body. It's kind of a reboot every day. So
every day. Wow.
Sleep is incredibly important. So that's number one.
That's the hardest one for people.
That is the hardest one, especially in our day and age.
Right.
The blue light and the
yeah.
I wear a sleep mask. I put in earplugs. Yeah, I'm big on sleep hygiene. So I think it's just super.
How old are you? Can I ask?
I am 62.
Damn. Wow. Yeah, you certainly don't look like a typical 62-year-old at all.
Well,
you're glowing. Are you wearing makeup?
I am not wearing makeup.
You should look like you're married. You look at you, guys. This guy's a dime piece at 62. Unbelievable. It shows that you're working and doing all this stuff. So sleep. Get that sleep.
Get the sleep.
Okay.
And then I think the number 2 thing is diet. That's a lot harder because people respond to different. And I'm not using diet. Yeah, and I'm using diet as a more in the term of way of eating.
Right.
That your way of eating. Some people responded differently. It has to do with genetics and all sorts of things. So that one's much more difficult. But a lot of people don't respond well to a plant-based diet. Vegetarian, vegan kind of thing. Some people don't.
We're not supposed to be vegetarians.
I think there are some people that can do it, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think part of it has to do with your genetics. But I think that for most people, protein, not plant protein, animal protein is important. But the kind of plant protein or animal protein you get is also really important.
Right.
So there are lots of things about that. You know, some people just don't do well. Some people do better on a high-fat diet. I did a 23andMe thing,
Oh,
and it
nice.
said that I think it said,
I want to do that.
yeah, you should. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All the heritage stuff is kind of cool too.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. I'm curious about so much of that stuff. What did anything surprise you, like shock you heritage wise or anything wise?
No, not really. I have a pretty good background on my heritage. One of my aunts was really into the whole genealogy
cool.
thing, and so she's got it tracked like way
Wow.
back. So we have a really good idea about where all the genes came
Oh,
from.
cool.
So very Central European. So
Okay.
all the Irish men got exiled to France and married French women.
Oh yeah.
And then eventually came over to the U.S.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's pretty homogenous
Yeah.
gene-wise. So it said that high fat was okay. Probably not the carnivore diet for me, where if you were more like way Northern European, that would be something that would probably be better. Although, everybody's got so many different inputs for their genes these days, you don't really know. But that's one of those things you just kind of you got to try it out.
Yeah.
Try it out, get blood tested. I know that sounds weird, but, you test how your blood is doing for the minerals and the vitamins and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's pretty difficult. But I think you can make a good stab at it. Most of the time, hey, I ate that and that didn't really agree with me.
Right.
Just take a common case. Like some people, beans really bother. Some people, they don't.
Right.
So you would say if they cause you gastric distress, shall we say, then probably not the best thing for
Stay
you to
away
base
from
your,
it, yeah.
well, or do it every once in a while.
Okay.
So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, they're the normal processed things that you should stay away from. And
oh yeah, if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it.
yeah, so
Or shop on the outskirts of the grocery store.
but
right?
diet is super important. So sleep, diet, and then exercise.
Okay.
Moving of some kind. The more you can do. I follow a guy, Dr. Peter Attia. He's got a great podcast, by the way, and he has this idea of the centenary. He called it decathlon, but he said there are actually more than 10 things, but the centenary Olympics. So if
Okay.
you are targeting, hey, I want to be able to do this when I'm 100 years old, get up off the floor, hold a great grandbaby, do those kinds of things, then he kind of tracks it back. And so what would you do in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s? What would you be able to do? What movements would you concentrate on?
Okay.
So one of the biggest ones is the posterior hip chain.
Okay, what's
It's
that?
all your backside stuff.
Okay.
Your glutes, your hamstrings, your calves,
Yeah.
your lower back, all of that.
A lot of ignored muscles.
They're often ignored, but super important in locomotion and being able to get up off the floor. One of the big risks when you get older is falling.
Right.
Well, a lot of that is locomotion and posterior hip chain stuff.
Wow.
Usually it's not your quads. It's not usually the front side that suffers, but especially sitting as much as we do, the backside suffers.
Yeah. Who thinks of that? You never think about that.
Deadlifts,
Yeah.
split squats, walking lunges, all those kinds of things are. I do front foot elevated split squats, rear foot elevated split squats, all that kind of stuff. Working on that bottom position of being able to squat down.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the way down.
Right.
Yeah. So, that's another one of those things that, you want to keep that ability as you get older.
Yeah.
And you notice there are a lot of people that do it. Once again, your hamstrings get tight from sitting, all that kind of stuff. So it makes it harder and harder. So that's I really like that concept, and so that's
Yeah.
I didn't really have it quantified like that, but that was something that I knew. Hey, this is really important. If I want to, be able to keep active, I'm gonna have to work on certain muscle groups.
Is that why you do a lot of biking?
I do biking, but I also do lift, a lot of functional lifts and
Okay.
some other things. So, I'm doing, I do some TRX stuff. I do, like I said, I talked about the other stuff. I'll push sleds.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Leg presses,
Man,
pull
look at
downs,
Cool.
rows and stuff
Man.
like that. I love the rowing machine along with the bike.
I just did the rowing machine. I just started going back to the gym last week. And I've never actually, I say going back to the gym. This is the first time I've ever gone to a gym and joined a gym. I'm super intimidated. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'll walk by the bench. All I want to do is use the bench, but I'm just so intimidated. I just walk by. I'm afraid to go to it.
You do you, man. Do you.
I try to.
Run your own race.
I'm slowly working up to it. It took me long. You should have seen the steps it took me just to even get to the gym to sign up. Like I'll go run outside all day. Like I can strap shoes on and just start running.
The people that are going to watch you and judge you, you shouldn't care about them anyway.
I don't. It's not that. It's just, maybe it is. I don't know what it is, but there's just something in me. I don't know. I feel like I'm an idiot because I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't want to. I guess it probably is me. I feel like I'm gonna look stupid. I just got to get over that fear of looking stupid.
Ask somebody that's lifting, or most of the gyms will give you some coaching if you ask them, because they want you to come back, and so they want you to use their equipment and use their stuff. So
I set up a meeting for Monday.
Cool. So learn some basic lifts.
Mm-hmm.
But
I did the first thing I did. I was like, a rowing machine. I've done that once before. I can do that. So I just, my shoulders are still sore. And that
there's
was like
actually
3 days
technique
ago.
to rowing machine. You should go. You can YouTube it. There's lots of good videos about rowing technique.
Yeah,
proper technique.
He's probably not doing it right.
Rowing is a great one because of the full body aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
You're working your arms, your legs, your back.
Yeah, it felt great.
Everything. So
it felt good.
I often warm up with a row of about 500 meters.
Oh, I didn't look. I just did like 6 minutes of pretty hard rowing.
Yeah, about 27, 28 beats per minute is what you're looking for.
Okay.
Unless you're going flat out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I wish you lived closer, man. I'd like to work out with you every day. Get me shredded.
I'm not big on building large amounts of muscle mass, because that's actually
I don't want to get huge. I just want to get in shape, back in shape, so I can be functionally fit to not, like I said, so I can go 1.5 miles, 2 miles deep with all of my tree stand and bow and
there you go,
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the ancients, able to do your survival stuff.
I try.
Yeah, they didn't really spend a lot of time trying to get big or huge or whatever. They just went and
They didn't have the resources for it, really. Probably
lifting rocks and stuff.
Well, I mean, like nutritional wise, like I don't know. Did they have enough to get enough? Did they have enough protein to eat enough protein all the time to build that big muscle? A lot of them. I mean, I guess when I'm thinking I guess some of them probably did, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Different parts of the world. Native Americans, not so much. You don't ever think of any.
Well, they had
giant
buffalo.
Yeah, but were there any shredded Indians, you think? Native Americans?
Well, they were probably all shredded in the fact that they were.
I mean, were there any big buff, Icelandic, Nordic type?
No, I don't think so.
I mean?
But they have that's a different body type,
right?
So
this was so funny. Yeah, there's so many different types.
But you see the Indians in the old pictures, and a bunch of them are.
Oh, they're in shape.
Yeah, they're
in
pretty good shape, and they're not fat.
Not at all.
So, they were able to do what they needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly in that age, it was disease.
Mm-hmm.
Disease was the big killer. It wasn't these diseases of aging like we have, like cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all those things. Those are aging things.
I wonder if did they have that though? They probably. You think they still had?
Most of them didn't live long enough to get that.
No.
Yeah, it's these kinds of things are what we call in engineering on a bathtub curve. If you think of the bathtub, it's a very steep slope at the beginning.
Okay.
And then it flattens out at a really low level, and at the end it ramps way up again. So if you're dying in that bottom part, you're not going to get very many diseases. Did they have cancers? Yeah. Did they have other things? Because those are, they're growth abnormalities. Were there people that had, maybe early onset Parkinson's? Yeah, I'm sure they did.
Okay.
They might not have recognized it, but yeah, you'll get those, but they're at a low level, and it's at the end of life that those aging things happen.
Okay.
And they're almost always growth related. Cancer is a growth related issue. Parkinson's, I'm not sure about, but some of these other things are growth related issues. Abnormal growth, but growth related.
How long do you think we can get someone to live? What do you think the oldest person we can get with just sleep, exercise, every kind of technology, outside of, cyborg type stuff, but, stem cells and
I'd
all
say
that stuff.
120s.
Think 120s?
Yeah.
You don't think we can get to 150?
I don't know. I think
that's old.
I don't think that, once again, there's going to be a distribution just because people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But, will somebody live to 150? I think it's possible.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think there's it's got to be some kind of crazy Russian scientist?
But there's
or
also
Chinese
a certain amount of
scientist
luck in that, too.
But what if you think they would do something like that? Do some trials of we're going to focus on this group of people and try and get them to live, how long we can get them to live, and just keep them
That's a really long study, dude.
It is, but I mean, look at some of these cultures that they don't mind doing long. I mean, that's what science is. All science is long studies.
Most of it is.
Yeah.
So they have it's the IRB, the something review board, that has to sign off on all these studies.
Well, I'm talking about the places where they don't really care about that. Some Chinese places where they're already doing some pretty shady stuff with
the gene editing and
some
of that stuff.
Yeah, CRISPR. Well, I guess CRISPR's not too crazy. I think they're getting a little crazy with it over there, changing the genes and.
Yeah, I'm not sure we know exactly what they're doing, but
I just wonder if there's a lab where they could,
there may
have a person and just make that person live till 150 or more.
I'm not sure I'd want to be that person. That's awfully regimented. I think
I wouldn't want to be that person either.
To never drink a beer or.
Oh yeah, it'd have to be a monk, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that there's a necessarily a huge incremental issue by having a beer or something a couple times a week, but if there is, I think there's an enjoyment factor. What good is it to live to 150 if your life sucks?
Right. If I can't smile and
there's no enjoyment whatsoever.
Yeah,
and that's
sad life if you can't try a beer every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy drinking a beer with my friends and discussing things, and and the idea is not to just go get lit up, but just to.
Not anymore. It's when you're younger, right?
I couldn't afford to do it when I was younger.
No, you're probably too busy studying engineering and.
No, I was broke. I was broke in college. I was.
Where'd you go to college?
Texas A&M.
Okay. Aggies?
Aggies.
There you go.
Yeah, I was broke. I was on a ROTC scholarship, and I didn't have any money at all, and it was difficult. The dollar pitcher night was about all I could hack.
Really? Yeah.
So, yeah, I was the guy that was always eating in the dining hall because I was on the meal plan and couldn't afford to go out down and
That's
eat.
College life. You did it right. Now look at you, though.
Well, I survived that, so maybe despite all of that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, trying to, been concentrating on good habits for a while. I've been, conscious about eating and, vitamins and levels like that for quite, actually, a long time. I think I really started when I was in the Marines, because I knew I was doing enough things that were not necessarily.
You're an exceptional person. I mean, to be a Marine and then to be a pilot. I mean, you're obviously an exceptional human being.
Exceptional, or maybe touched or crazy or something. Who knows?
I think they all go together sometimes, right? At least they're neighbors.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you can look at lots of super successful people on there. They've got their little weird things.
Yeah.
Maybe they just stand out more because they're more notable. But
Yeah, maybe.
I really try hard not to be weird.
I haven't gotten any weird vibe off you. Just
Cool.
definitely,
All right.
definitely inspirational. Because I'm trying to stay fit too. Because I'm about to be 40, and my biggest thing is my back. My lower back just pisses me off. It's in pain every day, and I'm just trying to do things I just know I'm gonna have to deal with it. So I'm trying to do everything I can to make at least the rest of my body to keep going. I want to be looking like you when I'm 62 and be able to hang out with my kids and grandkids and all that stuff.
Well, you got to take care of your back, and so if you're going to do lifting, you need to make sure that you're doing everything in proper form. And bulging discs can, as the way the doctor explained it to me, is the circulation and stuff. As long as you're not continuing to injure it, we'll kind of wear it away like sandpaper, and so we'll wear the bulge away as long as you're not re-injuring it. And so, you take care of yourself. Pretty much everybody has a bulge here and there as time goes on, just because we walk upright, and so gravity's always pulling
against
down.
us. Yeah.
The man of gravity is always oppressing us. But that's one of the reasons why the inversion table works well. And somebody explained to me, in fact, I think there's even a book or an article or something about why bats and things don't get arthritis, because they hang upside down.
They're mammals.
When I mentioned it to somebody that I did my inversion table a lot, he's like, well, he said, well, bats don't get arthritis. I don't even know if that's true, but it sounds
Yeah, how would we
interesting.
know?
Yeah. I guess somebody studies it. Who knows? They're bat scientists.
Studying specifically to see if they get arthritis.
But I wouldn't want their diet either, so,
Bugs? Just protein. It's all protein,
some,
right?
Some bats just eat fruit, but I don't think that's particularly good for people, just to eat fruit.
No, it's a lot of sugar.
A lot of sugar, a lot of insulin spikes. That's another thing. You want to minimize your insulin spikes as much as possible. Try to keep constant.
Inflammation is really the big thing that we need to stay away from.
It's a huge
in all
thing.
forms, right?
It is the thing.
It is, and everything creates it. It seems like, just so much food-wise. Like, there's so much food, right, that causes
even
gut
lifting
inflammation.
Lifting and exercise create inflammation, but it's not. That's a good inflammation, but it's not that you get inflamed. It's that you have the ability to clear it.
Okay.
It's a cycle. So you'll do some kind of exercise, or you'll do something, or even like on your your walk or your thing in the forest where you're going after, you will generate inflammation and metabolite breakdowns.
Okay.
That's not the issue. The issue is clearing that out.
So, and that's what the cryo stuff is the biggest.
Cryo
is the best way to kind of clear it out.
It does clear it out.
Okay.
Cryo sauna, the infrared sauna, those kinds of things, using the compression sleeves to help facilitate that lymph movement, to squeeze that garbage out and get the groceries in. So, that's what it's about, getting the garbage out and the groceries in. There are other things too. There, electrical stimulation and all sorts of stuff. So,
there's so much stuff you can do. So how do people, is it like a gym membership? They pay a flat rate and they can come in and do this stuff? Or is it like, hey, I just want to do cryo Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and sauna too? Like, how does your kind of your guys' spa work?
How does the spa work? So we do have monthly memberships where you can come in, once a day and come freeze. Most people like the flexibility of the packages, so we sell a 5-pack or a 10-pack of cryo that that lasts a year. So if you come in 10 times during the year, you get a significant break on the price. Okay. But if you do come and freeze 15 times in a month, then that monthly membership actually makes more sense. But I think it has been difficult for a lot of people to see, what if I miss a day, but the 10-pack, it takes a little bit of that pressure off. But we have a lot of people that come and get a 10-pack of cryo or a 10-pack of Normatec or 10-pack of the sauna, and so they can come in and they know that they've got that.
Is there a lot of overhead for this business? Other than, I mean, like
The cryo machine's expensive.
but just, I mean, like as soon as you buy that, is it expensive to run and like keep going and maintain and
well,
like
we have
nitrogen? Like
liquid nitrogen is expensive.
okay,
Not much electricity involved, but yeah, liquid nitrogen, we have to have that on hand.
mm-hmm.
And there's, tanks and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's a little bit.
Sounds so science fiction-y. That's got to be cool for you. I mean, like you really are. I mean,
I guarantee you, when we open the door and you walk out, you feel like Beyonce because all the smoke comes out of the chamber with you. And I've got a couple of cool videos of, where we pulled the door open and let the condensation spill out.
Right.
It's kind of cool looking. So,
Yeah.
And we got a really cool blue LED in there, so it kind of makes it very martini bar-ish,
Yeah.
I guess.
Ooh, that's the next thing, right? Throw a little bar in there. Freeze bar.
No, you can't have alcohol and do the cryo.
No.
No, you can't have alcohol and do the infrared sauna either, because
That would make sense.
risk of dehydration. But
Okay.
you don't want to. Alcohol and cryo don't mix.
Yeah, I'm just being silly again. It's not a game.
That's
It
right.
just
I
is.
won't let you in. Well, we have to take it seriously. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
We recognize that there, however slight it is, there is a risk, and we wouldn't want to injure any of our clients, and we want them to have a great experience because we know how good it is. So we want to translate
Right.
that to their experience as well. So if we can have all this great stuff, but if somebody has a bad experience and doesn't want to come back, then we're not really helping them.
Right. Are you seeing people constantly coming back? Is there a good retention of
Yeah, people come
guests?
back.
Yeah. That's awesome.
We
I
have,
mean, that's
and
just
like
lit-
from high school athletes to, like I said, the
And they
guys
just
in
keep
the
coming
80s,
back.
yeah.
That's all. I mean, that's the
we
best.
we have a guy that comes every Sunday to get his hip
Nice.
localized
He
cryo.
keeps doing it and it's working.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He says he gets absolutely great pain relief for 3 days, and he's a farmer. He's out on a farm, so he doesn't usually come into town except on Sundays, and so we see him every Sunday.
I got some people to tell about this that are out in the Lawrence area.
Oh,
Yeah.
got a special for all the listeners too.
Uh-oh. Listen up, people. We got a special.
Yeah.
What do we got here?
Normally it's a $25 for your first time freeze and squeeze, and we'll do it for $20 for
Ooh.
every listener of the Neanderthal.
Yeah, baby. $5 off, guys.
$5 off.
How do they find it? Where do they go? Let's give you here the little floor here. Did you say whatever you want here?
Okay, so our website is www. Do we even need to say that anymore?
I know, right?
OptimalWellnessCryoSpa.com, all one word. And like I said at the beginning, all of our social is Optimal Wellness Cryo Spa. We have a YouTube channel where our wellness videos go up. There's also a What to Expect cryo video that I did, and a little blurb about the infrared sauna and some other stuff. We post specials and information, all sorts of stuff on Instagram and Facebook. So Facebook, like we had a Facebook event for the wellness seminars that we've had. We've had a chiropractor come and talk about essential oils and recovery. We had a functional medicine doctor come and talk about using ultrasound and IVs for recovery. And then last Saturday we had the CBD guy, CBD of Lawrence. He came and talked. We've got an acupuncturist lined up, a massage therapist lined up, and we're negotiating with a doctor to have them come in and talk about blood tests that you should be getting that you probably don't get from your primary care physician that you should ask for.
Oh, cool.
So we're pretty serious about the wellness thing and trying to make it available for everybody because it's not always the easiest to find. I know I did quite a bit of research, so
no kidding.
I'd like to share that with people. There's no sense. Information isn't any good if I keep it all to myself.
Man, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your wealth of information for us. And
4931 West 6th Street in Lawrence, Suite 112. And so we'd love to see you. We'd come in and give you a tour.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to come up there.
Everything.
Yeah, I will come up there. I will put the stuff in the show notes. Again, people, normally $25 for the freeze and squeeze. It's going to be $20 for Neanderthal listeners. Thank you so much. Can I get a fist bump?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Bang.
Boom. Have a good one, everybody. Thanks.